All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Patriotic Dragon radio program. This is April 30th taping of the show, and welcome to the show, a show to bring open, honest, thoughtful conversation back, allowing individuals and groups to be a part of a better, brighter future. As always, the views expressed on the program are not necessarily those of the guest, WYYZ, Pickens GOP, or the sponsor. The sponsor this month is Clear Car Concepts, providing clear protection for your vehicles from the road debris on our Georgia highways. Find them at your local new car dealership or at clearcarconcepts.com. Our guests this week are John Williamson from LJ, running for the State Senate District 51, and also Conda Lowery Goodson, running for State Senate District 54. She'll be joining us here shortly. That'll be all right. It's okay. And John, I want to thank you for being on with us.
Hey, well, it's great to be here again. I appreciate your inviting me.
All right. I know that the listeners would like to know more about what made you decide to enter this race.
Well, again, my name is John Williamson, and I've been living in Gilmer County for 34 years, and I've raised a family, been a participant of the original Tea Party because we've been interested in taxation and spending. I have for the last number of years, and we also participated in helping the county and the Board of Education in some of their issues, so I've been aware of these things. But to get to the bottom line is that my political philosophy is very simple. I believe in small government, low taxes, individual freedoms, and a rule of law, among other things. And when we elected our current senator back in 2010, the platform that he ran on was exactly that. And he ran unopposed for the next two elections. And last year, he spearheaded the largest single tax increase, the Transportation Funding Act in the state of Georgia, and supported the largest budget in Georgia and also increased debt. And I just saw that, and I just felt betrayed like many others. This is a perfect example of what is really upsetting a lot of Americans today, is that we feel betrayed by our political leaders. So with that, I decided that we should have a choice in our district, and so I qualified not simply, but because I wanted to give our voters a choice, and also I'd like to have a chance to lead the district and to support and represent them.
Great. Well, I appreciate that. And what would be your top priorities in the state Senate?
Well, the top priorities certainly seem to be negative because I'd like to prevent additional taxation and regulation on the citizens in the 51st district. So those are the first two priorities in terms of legislation. But there are a lot of opportunities that we can do in the state to grow it and also to leave it better for our children and our grandchildren. And there's issues such as welfare reform and education reform. Now, there are welfare reform programs that have worked very well in other states. It takes people off the tax rolls and brings them into the workforce. There are educational reforms that have also worked. There are options that we could use to do that. They're not so much politically supported so far in the state, but we could be a leader in changing those things. And so the other issue is I would like to be able to point out to my constituents transparency. What's happening? Why I'm voting the way I do on the bills, and issues such as why are we incurring additional debt in this state? Is this the right way to go?
Okay, all right. And just to kind of get it out there on the front end, and we'll do it on the back end too, what's the best way for citizens to reach out to you if they want to talk to you about their concerns and ideas, and also, of course, to support your campaign?
Well, I've had a number of phone calls already. Cell phone is 404-574-9861, and certainly if I'm not answering, leave a message and I will get back to you. We do have a website, williamson2016.com, and those are really the best two ways to reach me.
Right. And for those listeners, you get an opportunity, give John a call, but absolutely go to his website. Of all the political campaigns that I've looked at this year, I think it's probably one of the most informative, clear as far as your positions, and very well done. I want to compliment you on that. I really enjoyed perusing it and gave me a wealth of information. So.
Well, thank you very much, and I give that credit goes to my campaign manager.
Hey, I know who that is.
My wife.
That's it. Behind every good, strong man is a woman holding him up. That's it.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, if you would tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. I know you have a rather large family, and I know you're proud of it. So tell us a little bit about your family and your background.
Well, people wonder, where are you from? What's your attitudes? Well, I characterize myself, now that I've been down here a while, as a Yankee redneck, because I was born in upstate New York on a small dairy farm. My father was a civil servant and needed to have cows to feed the family. We had 5 children, and so I've worked in the dairy farm, and we had trucks up on blocks, and we had dogs under the porch, and so moving to North Georgia is very much comfortable. So that's the way I grew up. But I've been selling capital medical equipment for most of my career. I've got a PhD in physics, and that's helped me identify with some of the technology that we brought to the medical area, such as radiation therapy. Linear accelerators for treating cancer was probably my last product that I sold for 25 years. And so that's been my work experience. Mm-hmm. I am now retired, and a lot of the time I spend is working with and taking care of grandchildren.
I think, and you got 1 or 2?
Let's see, I have 6 children and 16 grandchildren.
Yeah, and I understand you got a granddaughter that's in college. Is that?
That's right. Well, the oldest one's in college.
Yeah, where's she at? UNG or?
Yeah, she's at Kennesaw.
Oh, Kennesaw. Okay, all right. So she can still get home on weekends. That's good. All right.
Yep.
All right. Well, our guest panelist Bart Connolly stopped by. I didn't know you're going to be here, Bart. Thank you for joining us.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right. All right. Anything that you'd like to add or comment at this point?
Yeah. Let me make one comment, John, if I could. What you just said in your opening statement, we've heard that, which is where the empathy comes with, the established politicians. What do you think happens when you go to the state capitol as a state senator, or not you, it hasn't happened yet, but all the other ones that have gone before you, that after sometimes a week and sometimes it's after one term, you don't know who they were. That you worked for this candidate, you supported them, and the next thing you know, you don't know who it is that this person has turned into. What do you think happens?
Well, my favorite Democrat, Zell Miller, once put it, and I believe, and he said, when you get to the legislative area, the party that you belong to calls you into a room, and they tell you that there are 3 priorities for you. And the first priority is to get reelected. The second priority is to raise the funds to get reelected. And the third one is to vote the way they want you to vote. Otherwise, you will not get any bills out of committee, and you won't get stuff sent back to your district. So I think that pretty well describes what we see happening. And I certainly think that may have happened to our current senator, because he certainly went in promising low taxes and low income, but now if you look at his campaign contributions, he's got $300,000 of campaign contributions from the road industry. So I think you see that happening. If that answers your question, I think that's probably pretty typical.
Okay. Now, and then planning for 2016 and beyond, what are some of the items that you as senator would like to bring to the floor?
Well, first of all, I think that we need to address some of the unfinished business. There's some bills that I think many of us in North Georgia wanted to see get passed and signed that didn't get done, that need to be reintroduced again or continued again. And that, of course, one of the big issues, of course, is the issue of religious freedom. And of course, they are talking about reducing the state income tax. So there are, as you probably know, legislators get together before the sessions and talk about and research bills that they are going to talk about. So I need to be familiar with those sorts of things. But beyond that, on the positive side, I do look for, again, working, as I said, on the issues that, such as education and welfare reform. But most of all, it's really listening to the concerns of the people in the 51st district, because we get sent to there, in my opinion, is a representative. You elect me to go down there to represent your interests. And so there are a lot of bread and butter things that need to be done for the citizens. They have issues with it when they come across state laws and so on and so forth. It can be resolved by your representative. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to listen to them and say, what are the issues that you have? For instance, when you pass a bill and you put a $5 a night tax on the motels, if your constituents, a lot of them are busy in the tourism business, that makes a big impact. And so that's the other thing, is represent the constituents and continue to push for the bills that we are pretty well sure that need to be passed. And against, we're going to talk about some other issues as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and what I would like to do is kind of get into some of I won't say the devil in the details, but I think these are important stances that the listeners and voters especially need to know where you stand. Common Core is a major issue. The milestones testing, been quite a bit of conversation on this program and in the community. Where do you stand on Common Core?
Well, it's an interesting question, because my campaign flyer says Common Core, no, 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 because the perception of Common Core, in my opinion, is that it's now a federal program with federal testing regimes and federal issuing of the content of what should be taught in the state schools. I believe that's pretty much the citizens' concerns, and we certainly don't want that. I am certainly for local control of education, including the state. Now, the state, as you know, the governor started putting together a program of testing standards, that was taken over by the government and now turned into Common Core. So I was talking with a superintendent this morning, and she was saying that a lot of people misunderstand Common Core because they can mix up the standards with the actual methods. So we've seen the mathematics, adding and subtracting. You've seen that, you draw a line and you do all these things, and and you and I do 2 times 2 is 4, okay? Yeah. And so we say this is stupid, and she was saying that is a method, but Common Core simply asks you to subtract a two-digit numbers. They don't care how you do that. So we have to be careful about setting standards versus the methods. The other issue in Common Core that I'm very concerned about is if you let the federal government get involved in anything, they will in fact direct how you teach, and you teach to the answers. And if they set up a standard of answers that we don't agree with, we're stuck with it. So I don't want Common Core specifically in the state at all, but I do want the testing standards that Georgia has developed, and I think we need to implement those.
Absolutely. Bart?
Do you think it'll ever be possible to get the federal government out of education, to get rid of the National Education Association in Washington, who's just the bureaucrats who sit there and dictate what every school system in this country has to do, or we won't give you your tax money back?
I think it's possible, but I think it takes backbone. It takes a backbone and strong leadership. If the state stood up and said, we don't want your dollars, you will be out of our business, all right? We are going to divorce ourselves from that subsidy. We could do it. But this is sort of like, let me change the topic for just a minute. We talk about the tax deductions for charitable giving, all right? Mm-hmm. And the preachers are worried about, preaching on issues, political issues, and get their tax-free status removed. Well, if you just said, I don't care about the tax-free status, all right? Mm. And if you're willing to pay the price, not have that deduction, then you could make a difference. So you have to decide what it's going to cost you, and are you willing to pay the price? And that's leadership, and that's a commitment by the people of the state. So it can be done, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and also along that same line is that, the federal requirements that are dictated by the Department of Education, we only really have about 11 or 12 tests that are mandated from the federal government. But over the process of the milestones and all these other tests that have been developed by these outside third-party companies, not by our teachers, not by our administrators, but by a corporation who used to sell school books and now is selling electronic school books, that are developing these things. And I always bring up the issue with ALEC, because that group shaping the legislation is a bad thing. And if the governor doesn't understand that, I hope that whoever replaces him does understand it, because it's. I have no problem with testing. My daughter graduated summa cum laude from college, and she was salutatorian of her high school.
Wonderful.
But it's because she learned from her teachers. Her teachers were given the ability to teach. They didn't teach to the test. And I think if we don't give that back to our teachers and our students and our parents, we're not going to be able to do. We're raising minions versus individuals.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. So I think it's critical, and I'm glad that you're looking at. And I know there's a wealth of information out there for the Common Core, the fight to end that. And Meg Norris was on with us that helped write Senate Bill 355, and I know that they're getting ready this summer for the fall session again as well. So absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Next thing stuff is on one of your platforms on the website was about English as the official language of Georgia. So,
yeah, I support that.
Okay.
Period.
And your reason for supporting it, other than the obvious communications part, what about the economic benefit to the state and that type of thing?
Well, I have to be clear on this, is that a lot of issues that we deal with, we try to make decisions on the basis of the economic benefits versus what's right and what makes sense. And I think that's where we get into trouble, a lot of trouble. Right now, we've got this whole pushback from the corporations and the lobbyists in Atlanta because they don't like the religious freedom protection, all right? And so the political leaders say, well, if we're going to lose business, we can't do this. So in terms of English as a second language, to be honest with you, I don't know that it's going to cost us. Is somebody threatening us again with a loss of economics if we do that?
No, I think where I stand on it, and what I've got back from the listeners and conversations I've had in other areas, the overall cost to facilitate, and I use DeKalb County as a good example. When you have to give driver's license tests in 16 languages, all in paper copies, and then turn around and put that person into a car that has to read English speed limit signs, I don't understand why we're doing it in Laotian. I don't understand why we're doing it in Taiwanese unless we're going to start making road signs in all 16 languages as well.
I agree. I understand.
So from that economic standpoint, it's pretty simple.
Okay.
One piece of paper in one language.
That's true.
And let the churches and schools, if they want to increase student population in their schools, offer English as a first language, and let's do it that way. So.
Well, I come from upstate New York, and back in the days where we had immigrants, and I've known a number of them that settled in upstate New York, and the first priority that they had was to learn English. And what people don't understand is that if you can't read and write English, it cuts you off economically, personally, all right? And that's where we're running into trouble, is that people aren't able to succeed because they aren't given the tools to successfully compete in the market. And English as a primary first language is certainly, in this country, mostly a big advantage.
Right. Well, and everywhere that I go in my regular line of work, if you want to get an engineering job at a Volkswagen or Caterpillar or Kia, those are all written, everything engineering standards written in English. It's not written in the other languages.
That's absolutely right.
So
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, all right. With your background in the medical sales, I mean, I say this nicely. Where do you stand on Obamacare, or AKA, as we call it, the Unaffordable Care Act?
I read the Obamacare Act, 2,000 pages of it back a few years ago, and reported on it to the Tea Party. And basically, I outlined what the implications were going to be. And again, it was, as few people said, but nobody believed, that you got all the free stuff up in the front, and they left all the bad stuff at the end when Obama was going to be out of office. And now we're just starting to see the bad stuff. What a lot of people didn't understand for sure is that there was a cap on insurance premiums, regardless of what the insurance company was charging you for your premium, that it was capped as a function of your income level. So the low-income people could afford, if they wanted to have medical coverage. But the kicker that I didn't recognize, I confess that, is that there was no limit placed that I know of on the deductible. Now, most of us, when we have had classical insurance, when we go to the doctor or go to the hospital, we pay our fee, and then the insurance company is with us as we pay the bill. They pay some and we pay some, and what we pay then goes towards our annual deductible. All right, once we exceed that, they pay it all. For instance, typically. But what I didn't understand is what's happening now is that the insurance companies are saying, no, we're not with you on $1. You will pay everything out of your pocket up to the deductible, and then we'll start paying and helping you. Well, $100 a month I can afford as a low income or worker, but paying $4,000 out of my pocket is way beyond what I can do. So we basically have taken insurance coverage away from the market, and so it's failed.
Right. Yeah, and it's I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan, and having an emergency fund that's of $1,000 for most people won't even start to get them close to their deductible if they need it. And so if I'm making $32,000 a year as a starting out law enforcement person and having to pay my insurance, that's the reason we have law enforcement and state troopers who have families on food stamps. And there's a so yeah, okay. And then also something we talked about briefly, and I know that your campaign manager had brought a chart in with some of the first 18 months of projects in their major, this $990 million transportation bill. But how do you see the ARC's involvement in North Georgia, as well as just this example of the 7 or 8 projects in District 51?
The Atlanta Regional Commission, it really hasn't impacted that I know of up where I am, so I'm somewhat unfamiliar with how the details of how they're working down in the metro area. What was the other part of the question?
As far as the projects that have been started in District 51 because of that wonderful tax bill that got passed.
Yeah, well, that's what he's talking about is that you can go on the website of the DOT and you can look at all the projects that are going to be done in the state, around the state in the next 18 months. And if we look at the 51st District up in those are 6 plus 2 counties, you'll find that there are 8 projects that are going to be done by the DOT. Thank you very much. There will be a couple of resurfacing. We're going to get 3 traffic lights. That's wonderful. We're getting a bridge, and that's about it. Now, we're told, you'll listen to the candidate, my opponent, and he'll say, well, all that money is going to be equally distributed around through the state. That's by law. And if you look at the chart, you'll see that there's a density of those projects everywhere else but up in our area. So that's a visual of how unfair the money seems to be spent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's when you look at it, like I say, when you look at the spread across the rest of the state, down even into Bainbridge and the Golden Isles and all those corridors, plenty of money dispersed there. But it's nice to go there. But we do have apple festivals and marble festivals and sorghum festivals, all those things in our district that we definitely could use more improvements up here. So
I agree, but the answer that you're going to get when you say, how come we don't have more road projects, is that they're going to say, well, you never asked us. You didn't ask us. Okay? We have a road project that one of the citizens wanted done a resurfacing for years and approached our current senator and got no results, and they actually created a petition and had 1,000 signatures and petitioned to him and the DOT to get that project moving. So when they say come to us, you didn't ask, you'd have more help if you only asked. And of course my comment is that's what we elected them to do, is to know what our problems were and represent us in the state on our behalf.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it should take us 1,000 signatures to get that done. Bart?
In Jasper, Highway 53 going from 515 into town has been on the books, since the 80s? As a DOT project that we are going to widen this road and make it a 4-lane. And it's a joke around here when it's brought up, that the DOT is some new investigator comes out and takes a look at the road and says, yeah, we need to do this, and it gets put away for another 5 years. So it seems like here in Pickens County we've been we'll fix the road. There was talk, we're going to come and put a couple roundabouts in, that'll take care of all your traffic problems. And I mean, you look at this chart and see that this area of the north is a little sparse. They're going to come and spread a little bit of asphalt for us and then say thank you very much for your money. We got to spend it somewhere else that's more important than you.
What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things you need to fight for is, the pulling your money together to give it to somebody else isn't my idea of sharing the.
Can I just elaborate on that just a little bit more? We're raising $1 billion in taxes, and they'll say, no, it's not really $1 billion. Well, you're getting it from someplace. It's got to be taxes. Okay. The DOT's budget has been a couple of billion dollars, and we're adding another $1 billion. So they get a 50% raise, all right? And the reason for that is that it was a crisis, and we all have bought into this issue that the roads in Georgia are in crisis. So I happened to come across a statement by the Department of Transportation director for 2011. He was at a meeting in the Midwest, and they were talking about road transportation issues and how they were trying to get their programs up to the level of the state in the southeast. And the guy looked up, the DOT from Georgia looked up, and it was Georgia. We were held up as a gold standard in 2010. Two years later, there was a national study, and they were ranking the quality of the roads in a variety of ways across the country. And I figured, well, gee, we had a crisis, so I expected that we would be ranked, 40th, 45th, real crisis. Well, it turns out we were ranked 13th in the United States. We were ranked first for rural interstates. Our bridges, the ones that are going to fall down when the school bus goes over it, we were ranked 16th. All right, so it didn't see 2 years ago we didn't seem to have a major crisis, but we might have had a crisis because there was one category where we ranked 39th. Now that's close to 50, right? Yes. 39th is pretty close to 50.
Yep.
Pretty close to being worse. Well, that was an overhead of the DOT. So I leave that as it is.
And I said that, and I'm not saying anything to you that I didn't say to your opponent that. They reduced the workforce at the state by 20% or whatever it was, but yet the salary over the whole department didn't change at all, which means that other 75% of the people who were there all got a raise. So, and it was more than 3%. So, there's definitely some issues there that need to be addressed. And just kind of to move along and stuff into some other economic issues. What do you believe we need to do in Georgia as it relates to immigration?
Well, again, I go back to one of my beliefs is in the rule of law. If you don't have the rule of law, then your Constitution means nothing. And what I believe about immigration is that we need to enforce the existing laws that are on the books today. But if we are having a problem with labor in industries such as tourism and agriculture, then we should make a legal way for them to get the labor they need in a legal fashion and in an inexpensive fashion. So, but it needs to be legal. I have no problem with the rules that are made, but let's make it legal.
So, kind of in that same vein of conversation, what do you think about the guest worker program?
Well, I've seen guest workers programs that work. I'm old enough to remember after World War II, they had a guest worker program called the Braceros program. Mm-hmm. And they brought in workers to the truck farms in upstate New York, seasonal, and they worked, and then they took them out. And so I'm sure there are good guest worker programs.
And I'm proud to say that, I'm proud to be living here in North Georgia, and my wife and I chose to live in Pickens County, but my dad actually worked for the Allied forces after the war in Germany, and then came to the United States and worked for 9 years, 10 months at a time, and in order to get his citizenship. So that guest worker program is the reason my family's in the United States.
Oh, that's great.
And when he was an engineer, but he didn't get an automatic just come in and stay. It was 9 years of working before it was offered. So that's
I think that's terrific. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah,
and that's how you bring quality people who want to be a part of the country and be the backbone of the country, not I won't say it, but you want the backbone of the country to be enhanced by your immigrants.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All right. And just anything else that you'd like to tell your listeners and bring to the forefront as far as your stances on any things. I don't want to take them all off your off your.
I have a new campaign platform. It's called the Anti-Insanity platform.
That's a good start.
And insanity, as we all know, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So we keep sending the same people back to Atlanta and expecting different results. We're not going to get different results. So you need a cure for insanity, and I'm a cure for insanity. If you vote for John Williamson, we'll try to stop the insanity and bring some sanity to Atlanta. So I'm here to give people a choice.
Absolutely great. Well, I really do appreciate you being on with us. Good luck in your campaign. And if you would just go with your website, your email, phone numbers, and everything again for the listeners who want to reach out to you and work on your campaign.
My name again is John Williamson, and I do ask for your vote on May 24th or before. And my website is williamson2016.com, and my phone number is 404-574-9861. And call and leave a message, or I'll answer, no problem, and get back to you. Thank you very much for inviting me here.
Well, thank you for being on with us. All right, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we will be coming back with Conda, Lowery, Goodson will be joining us to finish out the show. All right, and good afternoon again, and welcome back to the Patriotic Dragon radio show. I want to just touch on some announcements, and then we're going to bring in Conda, Lowery, Goodson, running for State Senate District 54 with us. Some upcoming events we've got April 30th, the Lumpkin County GOP Candidate Forum is going to be from 5 to 8 on Saturday, and it is at the venue at Ferris, which is actually closer to Dawsonville than it is Dahlonega. It's right off of 400. Good venue to go to, and they're going to have the U.S. Senate candidates are going to be there, as well as the 9th District Congressional state senators and Georgia House representatives that are running there in the 9th District. So a good one to go to if you're on that Dawsonville-Dahlonega line for Lumpkin County. Here locally, Thursday, May 5th, we're having our Cinco de Mayo meet and greet with the candidates along with the Pickens Young Professionals Group at the Carriage House from 7 to 9 here locally. And just again to let everybody know, May 3rd is our Special Olympics competition at Pickens County High School. Make sure if you can to get out there and support the local Special Olympians. And of course, our Thursday, May 12th show will be, I'm sorry, I jumped too far ahead. Our dodgeball for Special Olympics will be on May 14th, and there at the Pickens County Community Center. Doug Collins has got his team put together. Got several of the teams from the high school sports teams are coming together. So for those wonderful people who help sponsor us from Community Bank, Bank of North Georgia, and Renaissance Bank, I'm looking forward to seeing what your teams look like. And we've got our guest panelist on here, Bart Connolly. Bart, you got your team put together yet?
Right now I'm on the injured reserve list, a little soccer injury, but I've been trying to get a team together. We'll see what happens.
Well, if you're a coach, you can still be injured and still play. So, get that roster put together for us. All right, and just a reminder that I will be out of the city the week of May 12th, and Stephen Hall will be taking care of the show that Thursday, and I believe maybe Bart will maybe on with him. And so tune in, make sure and tune in for Stephen. That'll be his first opportunity to host the show start to finish. And he's got some great guests lined up to talk about politics here in North Georgia. And now I'd like to introduce Conda, Lowery, Goodson. And Conda, good to have you back on with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So give us an update on the campaign and what you've got, events you've got coming up as we get closer and closer to the election.
Yeah, very busy schedule trying to get out and meet as many people as possible, of course. On May the 3rd, I have a interview on the TV, the local Dalton station. So anyone that picks up that station, please tune in and watch. And I love comments or questions, so please let me know. There's a debate coming up in Gordon County that'll also be videoed for the TV station. And then there's a debate tonight that I'm not a part of, but it's a great opportunity to meet all the candidates because they split it up. There's so many candidates. And it's just a great time to meet your local candidates in Murray County. So if you're at the anywhere near the rec around 6 o'clock, please come out and say hello.
All right. Well, good. Well, I'm glad you were able to stop by the show then, because I know that it does sound like a busy schedule for you.
Yeah, and then
there.
Let me ask real quick, when is the Gordon County debate, and when and where? Do you know?
It's at the City Hall, and it's Cinco de Mayo. It's May the 5th.
All right.
Yeah.
And what is the station, the TV station there in Dalton? I go through Dalton, but I'm always listening to the radio. So
it's Station 10. I don't know the call letters of it. I just know it's Station 10, and it's hosted by the Women League of Voters.
Oh, the Women League of Voters.
Yeah,
Good deal.
I would like to thank them for putting me in their who's who for women in politics. So they listed all the women that is running in the state of Georgia that I would be glad to share with you.
Great.
I'll send it to you in the email.
Yeah, I'd like to have it and post it out there.
Yeah,
Congratulations on that
thank
recognition.
You. Thank you.
Good
It's
deal.
Big honor. Oh, one other thing I almost forgot is Saturday I volunteered to be a hostess at the Dancing with the Stars in Dalton, and they're raising money for the Alzheimer's patients.
All right. Good cause. Good cause. That's great.
Yeah.
So you're going to dance?
No, I'm host.
Darn,
or hostess. I'm hostess.
I was going to get to see you twirl there for a minute.
I'll refill your coffee cup while you're dancing.
All right, good deal. Yeah. Well, now that as you've been out there, I know you've visited with and talked to a lot of constituents. And give me some idea on some of the feedback. I know there's some issues that we've discussed, but what are the top 4 or 5 that you really been hearing from a lot of constituents they're concerned with and dissatisfied with the current administration and how they're handling it?
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody is upset about all the new taxes, especially last year when we were in a surplus year of $15 billion and they created all the new taxes. From the 26 cents a gallon gas tax to the ad valorem tax, the hotel tax, the hospital bed tax. I mean, just on, and all that was in a surplus year. People's asked me, how can he call himself a conservative whenever he did this? I cannot answer that question. That was a question at the debate last night, actually. Or not before last, I'm sorry. And I don't know. To me, if you're in a surplus year, that is the last time you would raise taxes, not the first opportunity.
Right.
And people are really upset about the campus carry, the way they gutted it. Now, me personally, I am sick of these Second Amendments and these other show bills on election years. That if we just go to constitutional carry, it should not cost us money to hold our Second Amendment rights. We shouldn't be fined, we shouldn't be feed, we should not be regulated because our Second Amendment is there for a reason. And the state should not be profiting from that.
That's a good approach. That's true.
I mean, bottom line. And another one that right now is a very, very hot topic is RFRA. And we all know they spent a lot of our Senate time on RFRA this year.
Yes, they did.
And I believe that SB 129 everybody would agree with because all it does is mirror the federal government.
Right.
And I mean, I have a copy of the original one here if you would like to see it.
Yeah.
And I promise you, no matter who the senators are, this will come up next year.
Yeah.
But for me, since 75% of our elected officials in the Dome this year could not agree with 80% of the citizens of Georgia, that we need to put it on the ballot and let the people actually have a voice for a change.
Absolutely.
And not attach these other things to it. You put SB 129 on the ballot. And yes or no. Do the people want it? I mean, 80% done said they did.
Right.
75% of the elected officials couldn't agree with them. There's a problem there, right?
Well, that in Hollywood.
That in Hollywood, yeah. Well, I don't believe it's SB 129 they had a problem with. I think it's that third one they attached. But pastor protection, I don't think anybody would disagree with pastor protection. A lot of people in my area are mad about that. So again, back out pastor protection. Put it on the ballot since 75% couldn't agree. Right. And let the people have a voice again. Let them vote for it.
Yeah.
And if Hollywood gets mad, then the people wanted it, and we will live with the consequences.
And whether either that or we can offer them to either take away their tax abatement for coming here and filming, or they can operate under our laws, not try and change our laws.
Exactly. Why are we conforming to a business?
Right.
The business needs to
I think
conform
that's what
to
they
us.
told us that Hobby Lobby couldn't do, so I don't understand how that works. I guess
Well,
it's all about the money.
It's amazing whenever there's enough money involved, what changes, what rules change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not only my opinion, but
Yeah.
anyways. And another thing that people are still upset about, and this has been several years now, and it's not going away, is every time the Dome, we'll call it that, brags about how low the unemployment is. I'm sorry, our unemployment is a joke. Whenever you masquerade, we are the highest in the nation. We probably still are if we had a true unemployment count. But when you go from 26 weeks to as low as 6 weeks, and these people are losing their homes and they're losing the ability to feed their families at no fault of their own because their short draw time is over, these people are not happy about this. And it all went to pay back a loan that should have never been to begin with. And the loan has been paid off 2 years early. They're bragging about, patting themselves on the back for that. But they did not reinstate our unemployment insurance still.
Okay.
This is a big problem that has affected too many in this area. Too many in Georgia, not just my district, all the districts.
Right.
And I promise you, once elected, this is going to be one of my top priorities. Because this ain't a welfare case. People have said things because they're acting like pretending like I'm a welfare hopeful or whatever. But no, this is not welfare. This is insurance that is supposed to be there for our protections if we lose our job at no fault of our own.
Right.
And especially whenever we're given tax breaks to buy equipment to eliminate our jobs to these big corporations. We're just getting slapped in the face left and right.
Right.
And if all this wasn't bad enough, now the Insurance and Labor Committee has allowed insurance companies to determine our car and our house insurance rates depending upon your credit score.
Yeah.
If you've lost your job and lost your few short weeks of unemployment, what happens to your credit score?
Yeah, it doesn't soar, that's for sure.
These people are getting kicked while they're down. and will be for several years till they get their credit straight.
Right. And from that same standpoint on that insurance commission and those new updates there, tell me a little bit about what you're hearing as far as the 5% guarantee commission to insurance agents.
Well, I can't find anybody that's happy about that other than the insurance agents.
Right.
Because essentially the Insurance and Labor Committee, including the head of the Insurance and Labor Committee, that we all know who that is, has allowed an insurance agent to write in his pay scale. It's 5% commission on all insurance policies, health insurance, including, if I'm not mistaken, our Medicaid and Medicare policies in Georgia.
Right.
But even if not, your health insurance should not go up 5% to guarantee these people that are insurance agents and insurance owners and senators and House of Representatives get a guaranteed 5% pay.
I guess that was their way to offset the what they were willing to sign off on Obamacare. So.
Well, this ain't the free market.
Yeah, no.
This ain't conservative thinking.
Yeah, not a guaranteed commission.
Yeah.
I'm in sales, and there's no guarantee on the commission.
I would like to say you're going to pay me this set price. You
Yeah.
know, I would love to. Everybody would love to say that.
Yeah,
But all this is doing is hurting the people again.
right.
Because you have just created, or when this does get signed, it is creating a higher insurance policy, and everybody's already paying way too much for health insurance. Nobody can afford to get sick.
Yeah.
Health insurance. Now, I heard a fella in Washington tell me that you can keep your doctor and you can keep your hospital, and it's going to cost you
Lord.
$2,500 a year less for your coverage. What happened to that? I heard that fella in Washington say that several times.
We all heard that fella in Washington say that several times.
So let's back up to the state of Georgia. Let me ask you a question. You got some very good ideas, but if you were elected and you get down there to the Gold Dome and you get under the dome, there's some magic down there that changes Conda.
Nah.
You change overnight somehow. What do you think happens to, because I've been around other candidates when they're running for the first time, or get down there the first time, and they all have a story, and you see them 2 years later or 4 years later, and there's something happened.
They get bought off. Too much big money been waved in their face and too much power. Well, here's the thing. I came from very, very humble beginnings. I was born and raised in a 2-room shack with curtains for walls, and my husband went much better. We have worked our tails off for everything we have, and we're very proud of what we have, and we're very proud with the morals and ethics our children have. And There is no way I could look my children in the eyes after the way I've raised them and tell them I've been bought off. And I have this little thing called a conscience, and I like to sleep at night. I promise you, after 1 year down there, I won't have to tell you I want to be your voice. You will be proud to know that I am your voice. And if not, you have my cell phone.
I'll call you.
Yeah, I mean, call me. If you think anybody out here, if you think for a moment I am getting bought off, you need to come find me. You need to tell me. I know it's not going to happen, but if you think for a moment I am, come to me and let me explain myself to you. And in a couple of weeks, I'm going to put a plan out there that I hope guarantees that everyone trusts me on this. And I believe everybody, maybe not the elected politicians, but everybody, the people, are going to be very happy with what I'm fixing to do. But I don't want to give away too many details just yet.
Well, that's good, and that's the thing is, politicians, alders, I think there's probably one of the first things that they do forget is we don't work for them, they work for us.
Exactly.
They need to be reminded of it on a regular basis, and that's the reason I know Bart feels the same way I do. I think primarying a candidate is one of the best things that can happen to a candidate.
Yeah.
Because that's generally the only time that the average citizen looks at their voting record and really starts to analyze them. The rest of the time, we're too busy paying 32% in taxes. So,
well, the rest of the time, you can't do nothing about it because when you try to call them, if you do get a hold of them, they give you a blow-off answer. Now, you may not like what I tell you, but it's going to be the God's honest truth. Because, I believe in that higher power, and I ain't playing that game. I'll tell you the truth whether you like it or not, because you'll get over being mad at me faster if I tell you the truth than if I lie to you and you find that out, you know?
Absolutely.
And a lie is hard to keep up with.
Yep. Well, good. Well, now, one other stuff I do want to talk about is the campus carry. Where do you stand on that? What do you think with the session next year? What do you think it needs to be done correctly?
Well, they obviously gutted this one, so there's no real substance left in it.
Right.
Like I said, I personally believe in constitutional carry.
Right.
So that these type of things don't happen. Mm-hmm. But if I can't get enough support for constitutional carry, then we need to make a true campus carry. Because if you move off to college and you're living in a dorm, you can have the gun in classrooms, but you can't have it in your dorm.
Where your personal property is at?
Yeah, you can't have it in your car. What are we going to do with it? Leave it in our desk overnight?
Yeah.
That's a joke. It only helps very few students.
Right.
And a true campus carry is going to allow the college kids to carry on campus. Right. And if you live on campus, which the majority of the students do, you got to have somewhere to keep it at night.
Right.
It's that simple. So either we go back to a true campus carry, or my personal favorite is go to constitutional carry. And then this ain't even an issue. Many of these things are not even an issue anymore.
Right. Well, good. All right. Hey, Bart, anything you'd like to add?
No, I agree with that.
That's all right. Good deal. Well, Conda, again, thank you for coming on with us. I know you do have a tight schedule, and I'm glad to know that you're getting out and that the constituents and voters are having a chance to actually express their opinion to you and let you know where they stand. Yes. And I hope you're taking it all in. I know it's a tremendous amount to take in.
Oh, yes. Now, I would like to give my contact information.
Absolutely.
So that anybody can contact me.
I was going to ask you that, to give it again.
Yeah. Well, I have the website, condagoodson.com. I have my Facebook site. My personal one is Conda Lowery Goodson. Anybody's welcome to go on there and add themselves. My campaign one is Count on Conda for your Georgia Senate. Please add yourself and get updates. I call that my rant page most of the time because I'm telling you what I'm mad about today going on in the government. My email is countonconda@gmail.com. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, of course, LinkedIn, and YouTube also.
All right. Well, you have to show me how to use all that stuff.
I think that's all of them.
And phone number.
Oh, 706-483-7019. You can call or text.
Do it
before 9 o'clock.
Say it slower for those of us who can't write that fast.
706-483-7019.
All right.
Call or text before 9 p.m. because I go to bed early.
All right. Thank you, Conda.
Thank you.
Great to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah. And again, thanks everybody for being on with us, the Patriotic Dragon radio program. And again, our sponsor this month is Clear Car Concepts. providing clear protection for your vehicles from the road debris on our Georgia roads. Find them at your local new car dealership or at clearcarconcepts.com. Look forward to seeing y'all next Saturday on the show. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Becky, seat you, brother. David Lindsay, who's running for probate judge. I know he's out of town. I talked to him this week. Jennifer Jordan, who's running for the clerk of the Superior Court. She's today's her anniversary, and she's got better things to do, I think, tonight, she said. So, and that. So, I hope I didn't miss anybody. I tried to get everybody. All the individuals here are contested, and they're going to do their introductions later. I want to introduce the executive committee for the GOP in Pickens County also, because they do a lot of work in the background making these events happen and creating opportunities that we have. Bart Conley, Tara Cannon, Ted Bowman, Stephen Hall, Kimberly Hofstadler, Bill Horton, coordinators of tonight's events is Miss Carolyn Childers and Will Bell. Thank you. Your MC tonight for the questions will be Mr. Craig Stallings. We got two candidates running for the tax commissioner who are also in executive committees, who is David Leister and Darren Satterfield. Okay. Just a couple of more announcements, then we're going to get this thing kicked off. We are sponsoring a dodgeball tournament on May 14th at the Pickens County Rec Center. It's $40 a team. The benefits go to Special Olympics of Pickens County. Okay? All you candidates who are opposed, get you some teams up and go out there and throw some balls at your opponents. We do have one team from the 9th District that's out there, so do that. Also, that's on May 14th, Saturday. Saturday, June 18th, also at the Pickens County Rec Center, we have the Pickens County Tomato Sandwich Fiesta. We'll have most of the candidates around committed to come in to speak that day also. This will be probably... We hadn't got commitments out of all of them, but Doug Collins was there last year. We also had Tom Graves from over in the 14th District. So we had Brian Kemp last year. So we have a lot of individuals coming out to speak at that. So make plans to come out and visit with that. Early voting starts May 2nd. Get out and vote and there's one Saturday on May 14th is for that. Okay. For the rules tonight, we got together, we set down some rules tonight. So this is the rules of the debate. Turn off or mute your cell phones, please. I'm guilty of that. We are not taking any questions from the floor. We took all the questions beforehand so we could vet them and get all the common questions out there. We're asking the candidates to stick to the issues of the questions that's being asked. And please, this is not a Republican presidential debate. No personal attacks. Craig will cut you off at the legs about the time you do that. So that's all I have. I'm going to turn this over for the next couple of hours, 2.5 hours, to Mr. Craig Stallings to manage the debate. And good luck to everybody. Craig, come on up.
Thank you, Ron. Thanks, everybody, for being here. A couple of rules. No name calling, no rooting, no gouging, no eye poking. All right, we good with that? All right, I want to introduce everybody here. If y'all will just stand up when I call your name, and then we'll have opportunity to have 3 minutes. So, Catherine White, if you will stand and tell us who you are, please. You probably will want that, yeah. Yeah, just come on over to the... Perfect. Okay. You have 3 minutes.
Thanks.
We're going to make sure. All right, go.
All right. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate all of you coming out because I really feel like voting is a very important privilege that we have as Americans. So having this many people out here is so encouraging to me because I really thought that we were going to have a room that was a little less crowded. So I'm very appreciative of you all coming out. I am Catherine White. I am not from Jasper, but as a friend told me, I got here as quick as I could. I'm from Peachtree City. I graduated from McIntosh High School. I went to the University of West Georgia where I graduated with a degree, Bachelor of Science of Education, and my concentration was early childhood education. I'm married to my wonderful husband, Joe, who's here today, and I have 3 beautiful children. Reagan attends Jasper Middle School, Reese goes to Hill City, and my son Ridge goes to the First Baptist Preschool. So I have lots of little ones, go big and small. I was a teacher for 14 years. Teaching was the only thing I ever grew up wanting to do, and recently there was some things going on in I worked in Fulton County, and it just was not a place that I was thinking that it was a good place to be. There was the Common Core, and some of the things that I couldn't really change was happening, and I stepped away. I work for a company that is the accountant education and CPA education now, and I was approached a few times from people in the community to run for the board, and I kept saying, no, I'm not a politician, I'm just a teacher, I can't run for that, that's not me. But there was just, and a lot of the things I did dislike were, state and federal mandates that I knew I couldn't change. But after talking to lots of people in the community, talking to lots of teachers, and talking to a lot of parents, there was some things that I did decide that I could help with change. And I would be more than happy to work really hard for the students of our school, for the parents of our system, for the teachers of our system. There's things that I think that we can do to make our county even better than it already is. I don't know. Do I have? Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't have a timer here. I thought you were giving me the whole time. Thank you.
You're talking another 30 minutes.
I know. I know. I said 0 there. I thought you were going to let me talk the whole time.
Well, see, here's the thing. They put this thing up here, didn't tell me how it works, so I'm sitting here, I'm Fitbitting you the whole time. I'm just checking the
I hope
Fitbit.
it didn't see how many laps I ran.
Yeah, about 12, I think.
Thank you.
Okay, Larry Cantrell. Come on up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Larry Cantrell, and I'm a lifelong resident of Pickens County. I've been married to Angie Cantrell for 52 years. My wife taught in the public school system for 32 years and retired and serving as long-term substitute position over the last 7 years. We have 2 daughters that graduated from the local school system. We have 2 grandchildren. If I'm elected, I would like to see more integrated working relationship between the teachers, who are our real experts, the superintendent's office, and the Board of Education. We're a small rural community in the foothills of North Georgia. We need to rely on what we know, and we need to depend on the local talents we have. Since announcing my candidacy, I've learned that a growing number of the teachers do not feel they've been supported by their administrators. This has to change. We cannot sit idle while we lose teachers to neighboring systems. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
That might have been a record. Mike Cowart.
Thank you. My name is Mike Cowart, and I want to thank everyone for being here. When I ran the last time, we never had a crowd this big, so I'm really proud of all of you. Couple of things. I'm very proud of what the school board has done while I've been on it the last 4 years. A few highlights about the things that we've accomplished. Number one is our tax digest has went down, yet we have kept the millage rate exactly the same. We have changed the way we budgeted things. We did everything that we could to make sure the taxpayers didn't feel the burden of that. I'm very proud of that. That's what I ran on when I first ran for the school board, and that part has come true. We've had no millage rate increase. I don't want another one. I think that we need to get the state to continue to help us fund our school system in our county the way that it should be funded. I mean, if we're going to have public schools, let's fund them the way they need to be funded. Right now, this year, you, our local taxpayers, are funding 54% of our budget. The state is funding 46%. It is one of the primary goals of mine to get it to where we get more of an equalization again. A long time ago, it used to be the other way around. It gets harder and harder and harder to get state mandates without them being funded. This year, we did get some of our austerity cuts given back to us. The governor wants us to give the teachers a 3% raise. The fact is, in preliminary estimates, we're going to get about $700,000 extra this year. That will only fund almost 1% raise. So it's almost there. It's getting there. Just make sure everyone checks the facts when they hear people like me, the politicians, saying one thing, but check the facts, see exactly what it really is. But I'm very proud of all of our teachers going through all the changes that we have had over the last 4 years with their Teaks and Leaks programs and all that, and all the state mandates on all that. We've got it now to where if the governor will sign it, we get some of that control back now. I want it to be to where Pickens County can control what happens with our teachers. Thank you.
Well, whoever wins out of this, I just hope y'all can keep the boys out of the girls' room. Mark Godfrey.
It's not working.
Now it is.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. Thanks everybody for coming. It's nice to see all these familiar faces here, that people we've known and worked with and worked for and talked to over the years. My name is Mark Godfrey. I've lived in Pickens County almost all my 60 years. Married to Karen for 35 years. She's a transplant. She got here as quick as she could when we got married in 1981, so she's qualified. And then we have a son, Matthew, who's a product of the local school system, and he turned out pretty well. He's a DEA agent in Atlanta, has a college degree from Valdosta State. But for the most of the length of my working life, I've took part in public service, either with the school system as a teacher, a coach, an administrator, or working in retail in the Walmart or other stores. I always had a life of service, and I'm trying to continue that now, and I think I got that from my parents. Why did I decide to run for coroner now at age 60 when I should be retired with my wife? In my life, I've tried to establish a certain amount of consistency, a stable work environment and work profession, and I think that needs to be commonplace in politics. And, you know, we talk about the presidential elections and we make our jokes, but when it comes right down to it, it's who do you trust and who do you like enough to trust? Basically, that's it. Regardless of all the facts and figures and qualifications, it's who do you trust and who do you like enough to trust? And I just hope you like me more and trust me more than my opponent. If you do, then we'll be successful. And if you trust me with that, then at the end of 4 years, hopefully, it'll be worthwhile. I am passionate about becoming coroner. It's something that is really means a lot to me now. In the last 6 months of my life, I've had a lot of conditional changes, and we all go through changes in our lives, and you're never too old to have changes. When people encounter one of the darkest days of their life and somebody has to come and talk to them about a death in their family, I would hope that someone is a lot like me. I would hope I could talk to someone like me. And I'm not bragging when I say that. I consider myself a caring individual who understands life's problems, because we've all had them. I've had them. You've had them. I humbly ask for your support and your vote on Election Day. I will strive to bring to the office the integrity and the enthusiasm that the citizens of Pickens County deserves, and following the current coroner, that's going to be a hard task. He's been coroner for 12 years, a deputy coroner for 4 years. It's a total of 16 years. And I consider it an honor to be working for him. Thank you very much.
Bradley McKinney. We have a technical difficulty right here. Will.
I didn't touch it, Brad.
Your timer decided to
Time out.
went book shooby on us here, buddy.
Operator error.
That's more than likely what
Hey,
it is.
I'm not checked out on this machine, okay?
Not the technical guru.
No, the technical guru standing here before you.
Okay.
We call him Scrapyard because he still has lots of shrapnel in him.
That starts it. That resets it. Don't touch anything else.
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
My name is Bradley McKinney, and I am a Republican candidate seeking the office of coroner for Pickens County. I've been a resident of Pickens County since 2008. I am married to the former Tony McFarland. I have 2 sons, Jim and Kevin, and 1 little beautiful granddaughter, the love of my life. First of all, I'd like to thank the people at Chattahoochee Technical College for allowing us to have this here tonight. I appreciate and thank the Republican Party of Pickens County who organized this. I thank the candidates for being here and participating. But most of all, I thank the citizens of Pickens County coming out and being interested in finding out more about their candidates who are seeking public office. And hopefully you will see, after this is over with, I have brochures, and it spells out my qualifications, and I think I'm more than qualified to handle the duties of the Pickens County Coroner's Office. First of all, the training I've had, I am a United States Army veteran. And what I did when I was in service, the older gentleman's gonna know this, is Graves registration. Okay, I've also completed the coroner's course, basic course, twice. I couldn't train me right the one time, so they trained me twice in 1989 and 2008. Of course, there's a lapse in service, my service time as coroner. And have also completed every certification class since then, except for the years that I did not serve as coroner. Also graduated from Goodson Jones College of Funeral Service, where we had courses in anatomy, pathology, microbiology, and chemistry. And that has helped me over the years, and I've also served in the funeral profession for 44 years. Experience as coroner, I was appointed deputy coroner in 1989 by the Honorable Forrest Sess, which was the coroner of Lumpkin County. I served as elected coroner in Lumpkin County from 1993 to 2007, which is 3 terms. And I also have served from 2008 to the present appointed deputy coroner in Pickens County by the Honorable Kevin Roper, a total of over 20 years. If elected, I promise the citizens of Pickens County to uphold the office of coroner to very high standards, to handle every situation in a professional, caring, and personal manner.
3 minutes.
Okay, experience matters.
Thank you. 'Cause, 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 ' Now, these next two guys I got to work with, so y'all be nice to them. We got Darren Satterfield. Come on up. Now, these next two guys I got to work with, so y'all be nice to them. We got Darren Satterfield. Come on.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for this opportunity to meet with you this evening. I'm Darren Satterfield, candidate for the Pickens County Tax Commissioner. I was born in Savannah, Georgia, and graduated from Parker High and attended Greenville Technical College. I currently serve as your Chief Deputy Tax Commissioner for Pickens County. I have worked in the Tag and Tax Office for over 9 years. I started off as a Tag and Title Clerk. As a Tag and Title Clerk, I thoroughly enjoyed the interaction with the public and assisting them with their needs. Even helping the elderly and disabled by putting their license plates on their vehicles and even sometimes going to their homes to assist them. During that time, I've also managed all the dealer work. Over 3 years ago, I was asked to manage delinquent tax collections. While serving in this position, I'm delighted to say we're at almost 99% collections. During this time, I continued my training in Athens and completed 4 years of classes at UGA for the Georgia Association of Tax Officials. While serving in the tax office, I have worked for and assisted in the development of the following projects: development of website for online payments and taxes, implementation of credit card payments, help train the staff to provide better customer service. If elected, I will work to install kiosks in various locations in the county for self-service tag renewals. Continue to reduce wait times in the tax office through technology improvements. Set up an after-hours drop box for payments. Continue to improve our rate collection. And our team will always continue to offer excellent customer service. I humbly ask for your vote on May 24th as your next Pickens County Tax Commissioner. I may be new to politicking, campaigning, but I am not new to the Tag and Tax Office. I've been there almost 9 years, and I love our work, I love the people, and I hope you'll vote for me on May 24th to serve.
David Leister.
Hi, everyone. My name is David Leister, and I'm running for Tax Commissioner. We're all up here to tell you a little bit about ourselves, and most of you don't know me unless you've seen me at school events with my children or looked at the progress or knows Pickens when I was mayor of Nelson. You really don't know me. I didn't grow up here, and I'm a private person. So I don't get out and socialize as much as I should, considering I'm running for public office. I have 4 children, ranging in ages from 13 to 25. 2 of them are in the Pickens school system. The other 2 are off getting their lives started. For me, I started working when I was 15 years old. I've worked as a grocery clerk, a fiscal clerk for the state of Maryland. I've worked for Six Flags Over Georgia. These things, along with being the mayor of Nelson, Human Resources, have given me a perspective on public and private policies. My biggest concern is that in the ideology in the local government in Nelson and to a degree here in the Pickens County is it's okay to interpret the law. And that's wrong, in my opinion. Now, it can be done for good cause. And frankly, I don't have a complaint, well, I do have one complaint. I don't have any complaints other than one regarding the tax office, my opponent. I just feel that there are procedures in place right now that are detrimental to the financial well-being of the county. Because with the advent of the internet, people see a lot. And should these things be contested, the county will have to pay. And if you're wondering who the county is, it's not some invisible entity, it's you. And that's something I'm trying to help avoid. Now, I have to touch briefly on my opponent. No one that supports me will be calling him any type of name if I know about it. He's a good man. But I would like to say that's the same. And so far, I'm not able to say that. So that's it. Thank you.
Bill Newton.
Well, for those of y'all who don't know me, I am Bill Newton. And I've been here since in Pickens County since the early 50s. My family moved here from LJ, Georgia. My dad was a deputy sheriff, and we lived in the old jail on Main Street for 4 years. Then I went to Pickens School. I graduated from Pickens High School. I actually graduated here from Pickens Technical College. The first, I guess it was the second year it was open because it was more than a year's class. After graduating, I went in the United States Army. I was stationed at the Pentagon. I was a VIP chauffeur for 15 months. I was fortunate enough to drive everybody up to the Vice President, 4-star generals, Secretary of Defense, senators, congressmen. I knew wherever government office building was in Washington, D.C., so politics is not really new to me. I came back out of the military and I started a construction company. I built houses for a couple of years. Then I got in the construction business. I've been in construction for over 30 years. 2000, I sold my business. I got elected as commissioner, served for 4 years. I had a lot of improvements to the county, and I've got some pictures in the back of things that we'd built. Cove Road Fire Department, Yellow Creek Fire Department, for Good Samaritans, the thrift store, food pantry. I developed that area. I enhanced 911 system, just numerous things. But the most important thing is I lowered the millage rate in the county 3 years in a row, which meant taxes dropped a little bit for 3 years in a row. And I'm asking for your help in the upcoming election because I'd like to see our millage rate be back below 6 mil and taxes go down to 17% they've increased in the last 12 years. A lot of improvements need to be done on the county roads. That's part of what I did for 30 years. I worked for Corps Engineers, did DOT contracts, worked for Shaw Industry, Mohawk Industry for about 15 years. You don't work for those people for 15 years and not have a little experience. I'd like to bring that experience back to the county road system. I think we need to expand other things like our recreation systems. We've got a central recreation facility now. We've abandoned the east end and west ends of the county. There's children, families there, mothers or little children that would like to have a little playground somewhere for the children to go without having to come to Jasper.
Your time's up, Bill.
I appreciate y'all's help. Thank you.
Mr. Rob Jones.
Thank y'all. I'm going to kind of get off I had something wrote out, and I'm just going to kind of get away from it here in just a second. You guys have blessed me with the ability to serve for you for the last 12 years in this county, which is I guess a record in one sense, but it's been a blessing in another. Sole commissioner for 8 years here, chairman of the board of commissioners on the transition that you, the people, elected to put a multi-person board in, and I agreed to serve as chairman on the board on that point. Give you an update on my family real quick. Got my beautiful wife sitting back there. Me and her have been married approximately, well, about 45 years. It's been around. She's put up with me that long. Got 2 children, Chad Jones and Sonia Gossett. 6 grandchildren. And yes, they are grand no matter who's got them. You can always spoil them and take them home. I've got one now that really my mind has been dealing on for the last few days that she's in Scottish Rite. She's looking better. And I wish y'all would remember some of her players on her, my little 2-year-old. But even that being said, we're focusing here tonight on the fact that you are looking at individuals up and down here that are not after to strangle one another. We are here for the benefit of the county. Granted, it's a job. We put our lives out here and our personalities and our ability to work with you at the best of our ability. And it's a struggle. I can speak for myself being here for 12 years. And until you serve as a public official, you don't know what the heart is. And I agree with the fact that everyone ought to serve at least one term. But anyway, as my slogan is for this year, it's where we were, where we are, and where we're going. And I'm just going to bring a few bullet points in on where we're going. We are going in the next few years. We are looking at planning and have planned on increasing fire services to lower ISO ratings in the county. That helps with your lowering your increase on your insurance, bringing it down. Pretty good savings for a lot of people. With the SPLOST that you all have elected in here, a few years ago, we have got a plan. We had a citizens committee that put together a plan on paving roads. We paved quite a few roads last year, and we're fixing to hit quite a few this year. And I'm not going to get into all that, but be glad to talk to you about all the roads that are going to be paving for the next 2 or 3 years. And working with local communities for water resourcing, we have started the WCYYZ for the fact that it was an authority that set up from 4 county entities. I'm the chairman of that entity that we're looking at pulling water out of Carter's Lake when and if that time comes. But also work with local communities here. Big Canoe, we have tied on water to Big Canoe. We are able to purchase water from them and sell water to Big Canoe. We are looking hopefully in the future tying water on to Bent Tree. But as we go on, the questions that can be asked, if you want to bring them back to me, thank you very much. And remember, May 2nd is when the election starts. May 24th, please vote. Thank you.